Isaiah 53. I think that we need to touch on that before we close this out. Isaiah 53, 7 through the end. We're talking about, this is prophetic word about Jesus. He, Jesus, was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is silent, he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away, and who can speak of his descendants? For he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was stricken. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was there any deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. And though the Lord makes his life a guilt offering, he will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. After the suffering of his soul, he will see the light of life and be satisfied by his knowledge. My righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Jesus. 1 Corinthians 5:7. Let's see. Get rid of the old yeast, that you may be a new batch without yeast, as you really are. For Christ, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed. Passover lamb. Get rid of your old concept of Passover, because something new has happened here. Christ's death, resurrection, it's all new. He was the lamb who took away the sins of the world. He is the Passover lamb that was sacrificed on your behalf so that you wouldn't have to face the consequence of your sin. He took it for you. So the psychology of the verse. Do you see goodness and mercy following you all the days of your life? Do you see that? Is that happening? Is that a reality in your life? Do you doubt that the shepherd will lead you and he will protect you and he will provide for you? Do you see the significance of all this pointing to Jesus as our Passover lamb? Do you see that he was killed as the ultimate sacrifice so that we no longer have to do this ritual? What difference does this make? There's a new name for God here, the last one in this series, and it's Yahweh Makideshev, and it's also translated Makadesh. Yahweh Makadesh, which means the ever-revealing one makes you holy and sanctifies you. Holy and sanctified in the King James Version. The Hebrew word is kadash, which means appointed, consecrated, purified, prepared. There's one more cluster of scriptures. Do you have time to do this? If you don't, pause it and come back. in a moment. There's one more cluster of scriptures that I want to do before we end this. And it's Exodus 31:13. This is a particular use of that Yahweh Makedesh. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, you must observe my Sabbaths. This will be a sign between me and you for generations to come, so you may know that I am the Lord who makes you holy. I am the Lord who makes you holy. I am Yahweh Makedesh, the Lord who makes you holy." And then he goes on to talk about observing the Sabbath. Leviticus 20 verses 7 through 8. I'll have you look at that on your own because we're running out of time. Again, this phrase is used. I am Yahweh who makes you holy. I am Yahweh Makedesh. I know some of you don't feel holy, but it's not about how you feel. It's the fact that he has set you apart. He has sanctified you for holy purposes. He has made you holy. You are holy. He has sanctified you and set you apart for holy purposes. Just like Jesus, the sacrificial lamb. Jesus, who paid the price to set you free. He paid the price to redeem you, to recreate your life so that your cup overflows. He has anointed your head with oil. He has sanctified you. Can you and do you and will you accept this as part of your destiny? That your point and purpose is to live a holy, set apart and sanctified life? The habitation part of Jesus' presence is complete. So why has this psalm transcended race, time, creed, language, culture? Everybody knows this psalm, whether they are a Christian or not. Why is this Psalm 23 so special? I believe it's because it tells us all that above all else, above all the strife, above all the fear, above all the weaknesses, there's a shepherd. He knows his sheep individually. He cares for them collectively as a flock. He guides them. He protects them. And at the end of the day, the door of the sheepfold is made of himself. He opens the door to his sheep, and we are home. What's the most important thing that you learned from this lesson? Or from any of these lessons? For me, I think it was the lesson about goodness and mercy being his unfailing love, his sweet blessings, his goodness, his presence that chases me all the days of my life. That was a revelation to me. I think that was the most important thing, along with the fact that he leads and I am to follow. Okay, now I have been giving you my super amplified version of each verse as we go along. And I will read all of them together now, including verse 6. And you can stop it at any time to make notes, because I know a lot of you want to have the super amplified version of Psalm 23. And so here it is. Because the eternally existent one is my shepherd, Yahweh Ra, I do not become decreased. I am not made to fail or made lower. He will see to it. Yahweh Yireh. He levels me, adjusts me, and reassembles me as I rest in lush green pastures. He drives me, panting with the effort, to still, calm, and peaceful waters where I can drink and be refreshed without fear. He brings my mind, will, and emotions back home, healing me and mending me by stitching. Yahweh Rapha. He cures me and repairs me thoroughly, giving me strength as I am driven forward along along the right paths according to his promises, because his purpose and motive is rest and rightness. Yahweh Tzedek. Likewise, even when I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death, I will have no fear of the evil around me, because my shepherd, provider, healer, righteousness has a rod and a staff. He is there with me, Yahweh Sham, and that comforts me. You have prepared a table of splendor for me right under the nose of my enemies, who are forced to look on as I feast. You pour fragrant oil over my head that sets me apart for holy purposes. Your anointing oil gushes out and over my cup, over the table, and all over my entire body. You are my victory, Yahweh Nisi. Truly, the best of God's beauty, gladness with joy, kindness, his success, his prosperity, his rich blessings, great blessings, wonderful blessings, his blessings of sweetness and goodness, his choicest blessings and favor, along with his unfailing love, his unfailing kindness, his graciousness, his multitude of mercies, his plenteousness, his compassion and unfailing love. These things shall run after, pursue, and chase me all of my life, and I will sit down as an important guest and keep house in God's family, in his temple, from sunset to sunrise, continually and forever. Yahweh Makudashah. Blessings, everyone.